NBC News is now projecting a winner in the Virginia governor's race. NBC News can now project that the state of Virginia will have its new governor. Its first ever female governor will be Democrat Abigail Spanberger. NBC News projecting that she has defeated Winsome Earl Sears in the Virginia governor's race. Now, again, as we were just describing, Virginia, I mean, it always does off-year elections. 11 out of the last 12 governor's races, the party that controls the White House lost the governor's race in Virginia. This is something that sort of structurally was on the Democrat side. But in addition, Simone and Lawrence, we've got this situation in Virginia where we've got hundreds of thousands of people whose jobs are linked to the federal government. The Virginia economy has been cratered by Trump and Republican policies in less than a year in office. In Washington, and Winsome Earl Sears, whatever her skills were as a candidate, and she's the serving lieutenant governor of the state, she would not say one critical word about Donald Trump and the Republican Party at a time when the state is really being hurt by it. I don't see how you could be the best campaigner in the world and win against those kind of
Donald
headwinds.
Trump declared war on Virginia. Yeah. And it's not California. It's a state that Republicans have won and can win. And he attacked it, first of all, sending Elon Musk, in effect, there with his chainsaw to just cut away massive numbers of jobs in Virginia. That's cutting the tax base in Virginia. It's cutting the state's ability to finance its own government. It's just a stunning attack on Virginia, a state that could be winnable for Republicans, and Virginia voters tonight have said we have got to defend ourselves against this attack.
Well, Simone, I want to get your reaction to that. I just tell our viewers that's Spanberger's election night headquarters in Richmond tonight. A live look there as NBC News has just projected that Abigail Spanberger, the Democratic candidate, will be the next governor of Virginia.
You know, I spoke to the Speaker of the House of Delegates in Virginia, Don Scott, before I came on air tonight, and I said, what do you think about this race? He said he thinks Spanberger's going to win, and he said, quote, it doesn't benefit you to be MAGA when MAGA isn't on the ballot. You might want to be responsible. That's what he had to say about Winsome Earl Sears and the sitting lieutenant governor in the state. And I've talked to other senior Democrats in the state who said that they have been seeing, again, anecdotally, turnout that has exceeded presidential year turnout in some of their precincts. And I think that's why we're able to call it so early here for Abigail Spanberger. There are other races. The House of Delegates, every single member of the House of Delegates is up for re-election tonight. Right now, there's a Democratic majority, a 51-49 majority. We should be looking to see how if Democrats retain that majority, and if they do, how can they grow it?
And Democrat Jay Jones projected to win the Virginia Attorney General's race despite facing major headwinds after he was forced to apologize for violent messages he sent in 2022 about Republicans in his state.
NBC News has a call to make in the New Jersey governor's race. In the New Jersey governor's race, NBC News projects that the Democratic candidate, Congresswoman Mikie Sherrill, has prevailed over Republican candidate Jack Ciattarelli. This was by no means foretold. No. This was a race that was considered to be the closest big deal race of the night, likely, based on polling. Jack Ciattarelli making his third consecutive run for governor in New Jersey, therefore having high name recognition in the state. Mikie Sherrill, a fairly moderate national security Democrat, fairly new to New Jersey politics, even though she has been in Congress for several terms now, prevailing in this race. This is a big deal. Ali Velshi's been watching those numbers come in, and we could start to see those trends emerge. This is a live shot of Mikie Sherrill's election night headquarters. I believe that's in East Brunswick, isn't that right?
In HQ.
So we're going to be watching this. We're expecting, obviously, a victory speech from Mikie Sherrill, but this is a very big deal. Stephanie Rowland,
I'm going to tell you, in a recent interview, when she said that she thought pork roll, egg, and cheese was disgusting, I was honestly worried for her. And I'm like, she may have blown it in my home state. I mean, this is pretty extraordinary, especially Mikie Sherrill is not from New Jersey, okay? And this is a state where sort of hometown authenticity means a lot to people. This is an extraordinary win. I was just at her rally that President Obama spoke at on Saturday night. Listen, it was a tight race. This is something very, very few people expected. Really big win for her.
I will also say there's a machismo factor in New Jersey politics that a lot of people thought was a ceiling for women. I mean, she defeated 5 men in the Democratic primary in order to become the Democratic nominee, and then up against Ciattarelli, who definitely leaned into that in terms of his campaign style. Mikie Sherrill winning and this being called less than 90 minutes after poll closing, Nicole, is really impressive. NBC News can project at this hour that the winner of the New York City mayoral race will be Zohran Mamdani, the state assemblyman from Queens, who ran an insurgent campaign that absolutely blindsided the Democratic establishment. He wiped out former Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic primary, causing Cuomo to come back and run as an independent, leading the Republican candidate, Curtis Sliwa, as a sort of also ran. But NBC News can project that Zohran Mamdani will be the next mayor of New York City. He is not, despite popular impression, will not be the youngest man ever elected governor of New York. There have been some younger than him, but this is a very big deal, and this will have, even though New York is sui generis, New York is its own thing, this will have political shockwaves around the country for the Democratic Party and for the way the Republican Party likes to talk about the Democratic Party.
It is worth noting that Mamdani had essentially zero name recognition. He was 1% of the polls. The thing that lifted him out of obscurity was that he went to 2 districts that had swung heavily for Donald Trump, working class districts, working class voters of color, one in the Bronx right by Fordham Road, which I know well, one in Queens, and he talked to people about why they had voted the way they had. And in fact, there's behind the scenes footage of him holding a sign saying, "Let's talk election," and going up to people, "You want to talk the election?" I'm like, yeah. And his focus on winning back those voters is actually where that campaign started. That is the first thing he did. This was 3 or 4 days after the election. And the idea that if you talk to working class voters, the reason that New York City had swung to Trump was affordability, and people feel like they couldn't afford things. And out of that engineered this campaign that is one of just in pure from out of nowhere to victory trajectories I have not seen in a very long time. I mean, I live in New York. I grew up in New York. I've covered New York. I know New York politics. Like, I vaguely knew there was a young socialist assemblyman named Zohran Mamdani, and I'm as plugged in as they come. It is an incredible turn of events that he is going to be the mayor of New York City.
What have we been seeing tonight? To put this in some perspective, between Virginia, New York City, not surprisingly, and New Jersey. You've seen low approval ratings in the exit polls there for Donald Trump. You see an even lower approval rating for him in California. You see how that's correlated with the results, it appears, in Virginia and in New Jersey. And if you look in California, so much of the messaging that Gavin Newsom and the supporters of this initiative have put forward has been, hey, deliver a message to Donald Trump. Fight Donald Trump. If you vote yes, you're doing that. So just you look at Trump's approval rating in the exit poll in California. We have him in the low 30s here. This is a state he lost by 20 points last year. That's a very tough hill to climb for folks who want to defeat this referendum. We do have an exit poll, as I mentioned, that's been conducted there, which we can reveal the full results from at 11 o'clock. We'll get big returns coming in, as I said, fast at 11. So I expect some clarity right away. And I just want to put this in perspective, what the stakes are exactly here. So again, this is about control of the House of Representatives in next year's midterm elections. The way things currently stand, Republicans control the House, and they can afford to lose up to 2 seats. Otherwise, any more than that, they lose control of the House. Now, they have already passed and enacted a new map that could, I stress could, get them up to 5 additional seats out of Texas. What this California map essentially is doing, again, could give Democrats a chance to gain 5 there and wipe out Texas. So essentially, that's what's being decided in the next few minutes when we get these California results. Could California pass this, enact the new maps, and wipe out what the Republicans did in Texas? What would happen then, though, is there are other states where this is playing out. Republicans have enacted a new map in Missouri that could give themselves a new seat there. There's a potential that would go to a referendum. It's complicated. The court ordered, there's a law and court ordering redistricting in Ohio. The new maps have come into place. It could be Republican gains of 2 seats, but they are going to be competitive there. But there could be Republican gains. New maps in North Carolina could be a new Republican gain there. Florida looms as a big possibility. If Republicans are aggressive, they could get 3, maybe 4 new seats out of there. So there are other states coming into the mix. And it's also important because, again, at 2, it's hard to see Republicans controlling the House, especially when you look at some of the results we're seeing tonight. But if Republicans could succeed in a lot of these states in redrawing it, if they could ever defeat this initiative in California, that number could be 10 or more. That would give them a much better chance of holding the House.
And Steve, just to put a fine point on this, if you look at the math, and I want to make sure I understand it accurately, Republicans have a little bit of an edge in this redistricting tit for tat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's I circle Florida here because I think this could be their biggest single opportunity if they want to be really aggressive. But there's a lot of moving parts here, because when Texas did that and California responded, a lot of other states are getting ideas. Trump and Republicans are putting pressure on a lot of states. Democratic activists are putting pressure. Wisconsin has entered into the conversation now. So who knows exactly where this is going to land? But there are more places, it would appear, where Republicans could do it for 2026.
It has passed. Show us what you've got there, Steve.
Yeah, well, I want to explain what we have here because folks might be a little bit confused. We are calling this, you see the check mark, you don't see any numbers, you don't see any counties filled in. So what happened? What happened is we took exit polls in all of the key states and in New York City tonight. In the exit poll on this proposition, the margin for yes was so overwhelming in the exit poll and so consistent with all of the data we had seen in the run-up to the election that our decision desk is going to call this based on that exit poll. I want to make it clear that's not an unusual practice. You probably don't notice it a lot, like on a presidential election night, but a state like California will be called like this. We don't tend to pay much attention to it on a presidential election night because we're in the middle of North Carolina and Georgia and Wisconsin and showing you results from all the swing states, but there are a lot of states out there that are very lopsided states, either Democratic or Republican states, and when you get an exit poll that really just confirms that, the state will be called that quickly. So that is what you're seeing happening here. Our decision desk has made the determination based on what they've seen in the exit poll and some other data that they can call this for yes right away.